Hi everyone, welcome to the June garden tour. Now this month is all about out with the old, in with the new. We're just getting going in the summertime here. It's been a really cool and cloudy springtime. We've had a couple of sunny days and a real heat wave, so the plants are just getting started. So come along in the garden with me and I'll show you around. So here in this first garden bed, we planted some tomatoes. Now, if you remember from last month's tour in May, all of the garden beds here were overflowing with nasturtiums and poppies, but the heat wave we had took them out. I actually took them out, cleared out all this space and planted some tomatoes. So it was so much fun to get things cleared out. A little bit sad, but also really good to have the garden beds looking nice and neat and tidy again. Now I want to give you a little sneak peek over here of my 2019 tomato grow off Challenger tomato. So you might remember from last month, I showed you this tomato. It's a yellow brandywine. This is my second tomato in the contest, and I'm seeing some really good growth from it, so I'm super excited. Now, if you've ever grown a brandywine tomato, you know the leaves don't look like your typical tomato leaves. These are called potato leaf tomatoes, actually, because the leaves look kind of like potato leaves. But this tomato plant is growing beautifully. In fact, I see a couple little blossoms on here, which means we have tomatoes just around the corner. Now, I did come out here this week and prune off the bottom leaves of this tomato plant. I want there to be plenty of airflow so we don't get a lot of disease. So it's always a good thing to keep the bottom 6 inches or so of your tomato plants clear to help avoid that disease. If you see any yellow or spotted leaves, like this one right here, go ahead and pinch those off because that could be the beginnings of a disease. And we definitely want to keep this plant nice and healthy. Now the tomato plant right next to my yellow brandywine, I actually don't know what variety it is. I'm always misplacing my tags. I don't know if you guys do that. I'm really excited about the growth on this plant. I'm pretty sure it's the large red cherry from my tomato seed collection, but there are some really nice tomatoes shaping up here, and I absolutely cannot wait till they start to get red. Lots of blossoms on this plant, and you can see this tomato cage is not quite tall enough for this plant. So what I will do is put a taller stake in here to support the plant as it grows. It's already outgrown this cage. This tomato is growing like crazy. Now here the springtime blooms are still spilling over this garden bed. I know it looks a little bit messy, but I just can't bring myself to pull the last of the poppies out. Aren't those beautiful? So let me know if you're growing poppies in your garden. They're one of my very favorite springtime flowers. And if you live in a zone where you get some cool summer days, you can probably grow poppies all summer long. And I have poppies in my cool season pollinators flower collection if you want to pick some up. Now down here on this garden bed, this was covered in flowers probably just a month or so ago, but they were all dying from the heat, so I pulled them all out, and I really like how this garden bed is shaping up. I'm edging it along here with Dianthus, which have been in here all winter long, and they do better in the cooler weather, so you can see they're kind of starting to dry up. But I also planted some red Profusion Zinnias. Now I started these from seed indoors. They're not blooming yet, but these are an All America Selections winner, so they're a really wonderful flower. These are small zinnias that only get to be about 6 inches tall, and if you want to pick some seeds up for those, they're over on the All America Selections website. They're a wonderful hot weather flower, and they don't fade in the heat of the summer, which is really nice. So I've got these planted in here, red Profusion and white Profusion, which once they bloom, maybe on next month's tour, they are going to be absolutely stunning. Now along the back of the garden bed, I have some cucumbers along this trellis here. Now it's really interesting because these cucumbers I actually planted really early, and right after I planted them we got some pretty cold nights in the 40s, and they've just kind of been sitting here not doing much. So I'm going to show you guys in a minute some cucumbers I planted when the weather was a little bit warmer that are doing much better. But it's really interesting to see the comparison. But I am getting some flowers on them. I don't know if I have any female flowers. These are male flowers. The difference between female and male flowers, the male flowers don't have any fruit or don't have a little cucumber underneath them, and the female flowers do. The male flowers usually tend to pop out a few days or even a week before the female flowers. So if you're only getting male flowers, don't panic. Hopefully the females will be along soon and you'll be getting some cucumbers. Now behind this trellis here, I just planted last week some zinnia seeds, and the variety I planted are a dwarf zinnia from I think they're from the warm season flower collection, or maybe the small space collection. They're just starting to come up in here, and I'm looking forward to seeing this whole area covered with beautiful zinnia blooms. Now in the middle, I wanted to use every single little spot in this garden bed, so I planted some beans just last week, and they're already starting to come up. Now beans are one of those vegetables that you can really grow all season long. I try and get some planted about once a month or so throughout the summer, but they go from seed to harvest in about 6 weeks. So there's something you can plant throughout the summertime. And these are from my bean seed collection. 5 varieties of beans in that collection. I think these are the royal purple burgundy beans, which are going to be so pretty in this garden bed. Now moving down the hill here, did you guys catch that video a few weeks ago on the super sturdy trellis we built out of a cattle panel? I'm absolutely loving the way it looks. So please let me know if you're able to build one for your garden too. Well, the cucumbers we planted, I think it was just 2 weeks ago, are doing amazing. And here's what I was telling you guys. It was warm when we planted these. Look at the growth. These were planted from a transplant, but the seeds are also coming up. 2 weeks of growth, and look at this. These are I think these are the Marketmore cucumbers, and the Boston Pickling cucumbers. And just a little note here about cucumbers. Some of you were asking me, they don't always grab on themselves real well to the trellis. So when these get a little bit longer, I will be attaching these with some of my stretchy garden tie tape. I'll show you that in just a minute. And they'll climb their way up the trellis, so I'll kind of guide them, come out and check them and guide them every couple of days. So let me know what you like to attach your cucumbers to your trellises with too. Now also in the middle of the garden bed, I did go ahead and plant some herbs. I've got some basil here from the herb seed collection. This is the large leaf basil. Oh, it looks like I've got a little something eating the leaves here, so I'll have to get in here and check that out maybe tonight, camera guy.
That'll be fun.
And then some purple basil. I love this. The color is absolutely beautiful. And this actually looks really, really pretty in a glass full of ice water. It's so refreshing.
Yeah, that really is pretty.
Isn't that a beautiful color?
Yeah, it is.
Then I'm edging the garden bed again with the red and white Profusion Zinnias. I just can't wait till these bloom. It's going to be so pretty in about a month, guys. So on next month's garden tour, make sure you come back and check it out. Things will be in bloom. It's going to be so pretty. Now right here behind me is my favorite dwarf tomato. I love this tomato, guys. This is the Tiny Tim tomato, and it's in my small space collection. Oh, I can see the little spider mites are getting on here, so I'm going to have to get out here and spray that. But this tomato is such an adorable tomato. It's a perfect container tomato. I have it here in my CaliKim 5-gallon smart pots, and it is just loaded down. Look at all these tomatoes. And the cool thing is it only gets to about 2 feet tall, and it is so productive. It's a determinate variety, but it actually produces over a very long period of time. I think I started this tomato back in November, and I've already been harvesting off it, and it is just
Look at
loaded
those.
down.
Look at that.
Ooh, we better pick these, and we're gonna grill tonight, so maybe we can throw these on the grill.
Right
Our
here,
chicken.
right now.
Whoops.
Now.
Dropped one.
That's funny.
Oh, the fresh tomatoes are so great. I'm so happy that they're finally coming on. Okay, one other thing here, guys. Eggplant. I have not planted any eggplant this year. I actually picked up a transplant. So don't feel guilty if you can't start every single thing in your garden from seed. This I picked up from the garden center a couple weeks ago. I think it's a Black Beauty or maybe a Japanese eggplant. Eggplant is amazing on the grill. So come on over here. I want to show you some squash plants. Now, last month, this whole area was covered in nasturtiums, and it really is kind of sad to pull them out, but they were looking pretty ratty, you guys, so I did have to pull them out. Let's see here. The squash plant over here is looking great. We're finally getting some sun this week and some heat, and it's starting to take off. So I want to just check and see if there's any little baby squash. Oh, I think I see one. Look at that, guys. That is what I was talking about, the female flower. See how it has a little baby squash underneath it? So we got the males right here with just the stem, the females, And hopefully the bees will come in here and pollinate the flowers. Now you notice they're closed right now, but they do open up in the mornings. So if I could actually come out here with a paintbrush and take some pollen from the male flower, pollinate the female flower, and then hopefully the squash would grow a little bit quicker that way. Now this one next door here was actually planted, one of the first ones I planted, and again, it's looking a little bit stunted. So I may pull that out and plant some more seeds in its place. So the flowers behind me will slowly be dying off, but the cool thing is there's new ones growing to take its place. So it's actually a good idea to succession plant flowers as well. What I did over the winter time was just throw a whole bunch of wildflower seeds along the wall here, and they're warm weather flowers for the most part. So as the cool weather spring flowers die off, the wildflowers start to bloom. So here I've got a flower blooming, almost ready to bloom. Don't know what the name is. It's in my wildflower seed collection. But it's going to be pretty to see them bloom and fill the fence in with color. After I pulled out all the nasturtiums here on the hill, they were just spilling down and cascading down the hill. I really debated on what to put right here. So I went ahead and put a squash plant right here because I figured that would cascade down and fill the space in too. And I may end up going ahead and planting some herbs right here along the walkway. But down here, this is exciting. A full-size tomato that's almost ripe. Now, I thought this was a Marigolds tomato. Again, getting the tags mixed up, but I don't think it is. So either this is the first blush, wow, and it's not quite red, or it's an orange tomato like maybe the Golden Jubilee. So I'm really excited about this.
That is gorgeous.
In fact, I may come out here tonight and protect it from the rats, because I think we have some rats running around too. I would hate for the rats to get that before we did. Isn't that beautiful? Do you guys get excited about the first blush of your large tomatoes too, or any of your tomatoes for that matter? Let me know in the comments below. Now I noticed today when I was out here on my coffee walk, this cosmos. Isn't this beautiful, guys? I love the orange color. Cosmos are absolutely a beautiful warm weather flower. They're so easy to grow. I never replant them. I planted these several years ago and they reseed every single year. And these are in my Bring on the Pollinators a warm season collection. If you want an easy warm season flower, definitely grow Cosmos. Now here along the garden bed, the lettuce is bolting. Again, we had a heat wave this week. We had 3 days that was close to triple digits. So my red romaine lettuce is bolting here. You can see it's starting to develop little flowers on the top. So I'll probably pull these out, but if you do have lettuce bolting, you can save it or let it flower, and then once the flowers dry, you can save the seeds. Now this tomato plant I know for sure is a Marigolds tomato, and it's growing beautifully. I couldn't be happier with the growth. Tons of flowers, tomatoes down in here. So I have a feeling this is going to be a really productive plant. Now this cucumber plant was one of the first ones we planted on this spring garden series a couple months ago. We've already harvested one cucumber, but look guys, a little baby cucumber. Oh, I just love seeing the little baby vegetables in the garden, don't you? Now I did go ahead and put some branches in here that we trimmed off a tree, and I really love the natural look. I just formed it together in the shape of a teepee. I felt like it needed a little bit more support than this tomato cage allowed for, and I really like how it looks in the garden. So let me know if you use any of your tree branches for trellises in your garden too. Now in this heavy duty cage here, guess what I planted? Not a tomato. Watermelon. A lot of you have been asking if I'm growing watermelon this year, and I didn't get my seeds started early enough. So I did pick up a couple more transplants. These are the sugar baby watermelon. They're a compact variety. I know a lot of you have grown them too. They're going to be absolutely beautiful, beautiful growing up this trellis. And if you notice here, this one is not doing so good, but that's why I planted extra plants. So always plant backups and plan for mistakes. So as the watermelon vines grow, my plan is to support them with little pairs of knee-high pantyhose. It works really well because they're kind of stretchy and they really do support the watermelon well. So hopefully on next month's tour, we might have some baby watermelon. Now another vegetable that you can plant all summer long too is cucumbers, especially when it's a nice small compact variety. So here in the CaliKim 5-gallon smart pots I have some Spacemaster cucumbers. Now these I also planted really early and I think they did get a little cold damage, so I'm going to pop some more seeds in here. But I do have a late summer garden seed collection with some compact varieties of quick growing vegetables that you can plant all summer long and are perfect for a late summer crop. So in fact, I just saw, I think, a little teeny tiny cucumber. Jerry, if you want to get a shot of this.
Let's see if I can get in there.
Again, the babies are always fun to see in the garden. So exciting. And these I supported with my old sunflower stalks. So if you've got some sunflowers in your garden, don't throw the stalks away once the flowers die. Just hang on to them and use them for a trellis. Make use of everything that you possibly can. If you watched the May garden tour, you might remember that I tried a little experiment. Always good to experiment in the garden. And I planted some squash here in the veggie pot, and I wasn't real sure how they would do, but they are starting to grow. And here we have the webs of the spider mites again. Oh, I don't know if you guys get those, but it's so frustrating to see those because they cover the plants with tiny little dots, and they sometimes do stunt the growth. But the squash is starting to grow over the veggie pod and hopefully will start to spill over. And I think it'll look really pretty trailing over the edge. Now it doesn't quite get as much sun as I would like for squash, but hey, it's an experiment. So let me know if you're growing squash in any kind of trailing way like this in your garden too. Now here I have some cilantro that has flowered. Now if you've ever grown cilantro before, you know that it doesn't take the heat real well. So the flowers are beautiful bee attractors, so I've been leaving them in. It's been fun to see the bees buzzing around during the day. But they are starting to develop little seed pods here, and let me show you those. Right now they're green seed pods, but as the flowers start to dry, the seed pods will also start to dry, and then I'll be harvesting these, saving the seeds, or using them for coriander in recipes. So don't cut your cilantro, or don't totally pull your cilantro out. Let it flower and save it for the bees and save it for the seeds. Let's go to the salsa garden. You guys won't believe this growth. Isn't it amazing? I think it was, Jerry, was like a month or so ago we posted the video on the salsa garden.
I think so.
I am so happy.
Wow.
This is the sweet spot here for these plants. This tomato plant is the Golden Jubilee. That's what it is, from the Salsa seed collection. I just can't get over the growth on this plant. In fact, I'm gonna need to get in here this week and hopefully do a video on this, put another stake in here, and provide some airflow for this tomato plant because the growth has been so incredible. I mean, look at these leaves. I think it's the combination of the smart pots, the good dirt soil, and I did feed it with that good dirt plant food and the Vermistera worm castings when we planted it. It's incredible, guys. The peppers are starting to produce. I think this is the long Cayenne red pepper, a really hot red pepper. Look at this, guys. It's so exciting. Jerry, can you get a shot of this pepper? Isn't that beautiful? So it's gonna grow a lot longer, probably about 6 to 8 inches, turn a bright red color, and it's gonna be fiery, fiery hot. And let's see if we can find any other peppers in here. But the plants just look so healthy and incredible. Lots of flowers on the peppers. The chives are coming up along the edges. Remember, this is all the ingredients we need for salsa all in one place, and from the salsa seed collection. So it's super exciting to see the growth here. The cilantro, actually, I don't know if you guys remember, but I tucked in the cilantro seeds behind the peppers so it would get some shade in the hot weather, and it's working. They're doing beautifully. They didn't bolt or start to, you know, die this week in the heat, and they're just looking amazing. So I couldn't be happier with the salsa garden. I absolutely love it. We've got peppers along the back. Oh, it's going to be so much fun to harvest, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's take a quick look at the scarlet runner beans. Look at the growth on this, all the way over the top and growing almost all the way over back down to the bottom here. In fact, these vines are everywhere. We've been harvesting these beans probably a couple times a week, and I haven't been out here for a couple of days, and I think they're getting a little bit out of hand. Look at this here. I think we'll be saving these for the seeds. Because once they get this size, they're a little tough and stringy. So I think these are a little bit overgrown. But you know what? Actually, the large ones, we've been cooking them up and they haven't been near as bad as I thought. They're so, so tasty. Now, I know that these actually have held up really well to the heat this week. But once these die off, I'm going to have some more beans to take its place. I planted down here some Kentucky Wonder pole beans. These are from the bean seed collection just about a week ago. Oh, look at that one. That's so cute. And they're just coming up along the bottom here. So my hope is when the Scarlet runner beans are done, these will be growing up over the back and be ready to take their place. So I've got some tomatoes and marigolds in here. The marigolds help keep the bugs away. The bugs don't like the smell of them. And let me take you over here and show you the pepper planter. Oh, before I do, you got to get a look at these sunflowers. Beautiful, aren't they? They just remind me of summer every time I look at them. Now, something I'm particularly excited about is the progress here of the orange tree. We got one orange off this last summer, and now we've got several little oranges on here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far.
Wow.
Hopefully some more will be coming out.
I don't remember only just getting one.
Yeah, we just got one. And I really think the key has been the regular fertilizing I've been doing with the Good Dirt plant food and the Vermistera worm tea. It's really taken off. Now the forget-me-nots are starting to die. The heat got to them this week. So I'll probably plant some more red Profusion Zinnias in the bottom here too. Let's go to the pepper planter. So you guys remember on the coffee walk videos, I've been having problems with the peppers. Now I did go ahead and, so it seems like a lot of us have been having problems with our peppers. So tell me how yours are doing. One thing I'm really excited about too is the daisies blooming. I actually planted these last year. Daisies are perennial, so they come up again year after year and they're looking beautiful. Now along here, the peppers are continuing to do well. Here is the, I think it's the Hungarian hot wax. Now a couple of you were asking me about purple streaks developing along your peppers, and don't worry about it, it's perfectly normal, and they will tend to do that sometimes, and then they'll turn yellow as they start to mature. So along the front here, a lot of great growth in the peppers, and I want to show you guys something over here. We've got some volunteers, which I've never had volunteer peppers before. I'm pretty sure they're the Thai chili pepper. Look at these little baby peppers just popping up. I didn't plant them. I think some peppers fell off this Thai chili plant right here. And these are a super, super hot chili pepper. So it's gonna be fun to try those in salsa. Jerry, you up for that? I know how much you love that hot stuff.
I'll pass.
Not. I've been telling you guys about the red Profusion Zinnias, and here I have one blooming. Isn't that beautiful? The bright red color is gorgeous. This is a volunteer as well. So all along the garden beds, all over the garden, I've edged it with the red ones and the white ones. It's going to be so pretty once they all bloom. Now I know a lot of you watched our heavy duty tomato cage last weekend. Here is my second contest tomato in the super duper heavy duty cage. It has held up really well to the heat this week. I had it all completely covered with shade cloth, a few little burn spots on the edges, but all in all, it's doing great. Now I did go ahead and mulch the garden bed pretty heavily with a couple inches of shredded leaves to protect it from the heat and to help with the water evaporation. So if you have access to shredded leaves or even straw to mulch your garden beds, it'll really help keep your garden cool in the heat of the summer. Now we've been working really hard on this messy garden bed this week, and I think you guys will really like what I've done over here. Look at this. No more nasturtiums along the front. Now again, it's kind of sad to pull them out, but I really do like how it looks. I completely cut back the oregano. Remember on this week's coffee walk, this was looking really, really shabby. So I cut back the oregano, it will grow back, and I planted a tomato here. This is the yellow Patio Choice tomato. It's a nice compact variety in All America Selections winner, so you know it's bound to be a really good productive tomato, and I think it looks beautiful here in this red planter. Popped in another eggplant here, because we absolutely love grilled eggplant. And the planter right next to it, the green zebra tomato. It's going to be a lot of fun to have a green kind of striped tomato. And I'm still debating what I'm going to plant right here. I'm kind of thinking I might try some okra. I've never grown okra before. A lot of you have recommended it to me. It's a really heat tolerant veggie. And I just have memories of that slimy okra that I had when I was a kid. but I've heard it's a really beautiful plant, so I think I'm going to pop some in here as well. The garden bed is edged again with the red and white Profusion Zinnias. Isn't this going to be beautiful once it blooms? Oh, I just can't wait. So I'm liking the cleaned out look, but it kind of is sad to have all the nasturtiums gone too. So I'd love to hear what you think of my newly cleaned out garden bed. If you have any other ideas for what I should plant here. The strawberry towers are coming right along. I actually have a new strawberry tower video planned, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. This one is getting pretty crowded. So what I'd really like to do is pull some of these plants out and put some in a new tower, or maybe even redo this one because I'm not really liking how this plastic is cracking and kind of looking a little dirty and shabby. The Swiss chard is starting to grow in, and right around the corner here, look, Jerry.
Ooh, look at that.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna pick this.
Wait a minute, wait,
I think it's ready.
Oh, there it is. Whoa, whoa, sorry, I'm falling.
Do you think we can put that in a drink tonight of some kind?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have some mint back there I can pick with our drink too.
That's gorgeous.
Isn't that pretty? Well, I've got to grab some mint. It's going to be so delicious with our tomatoes, our strawberries. Oh, it smells so good. I got to show you guys something I am so excited about in the garden this summer. Up on the hill right here, guys, are blackberries. I have never had this many blackberries, and this is one of my very favorite things to eat from the garden. I pruned these back very heavily over the winter time, and it is doing the job. Gave it the old fertilizer with the good dirt and the vermistera. All these blackberries are going to be so much fun to harvest.
I didn't even know we had these many either.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. They're so delicious over like French vanilla ice cream. Just to eat fresh over yogurt with topped with granola and honey. I think I might have enough to freeze this year, or maybe even make jam. Look at them, they're starting to turn. So we will definitely bring you guys along when we harvest these. Well, I hope you enjoyed our June garden tour. We are just getting started here for the summer in our garden. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe, click the bell so you get notified of any of our videos. And don't stop growing. The late summer garden seed collection is a great one with seeds in it that you can grow all summer long. So comment below, let me know how your garden is doing, what your favorite vegetable you're growing this summer is, and what you're enjoying about gardening. Happy gardening, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.